Welcome to the Steel Green Manufacturing Fireside Chat on the SG Snowplow. My name is Casey Smith, and I'm one of 6 members of the Steel Green marketing team. Due to times and the inability to see you at GIE Expo, we are here today because the Steel Green team is excited to talk about the new product we purchased the rights to sell and manufacture last month. Before we jump into this chat, please be sure to ask your questions via the comments section below. Today, we have Matt Smith, sales manager of the Steel Green team, and Eric Smith, the creator of the Z-Plow, consultant to Steel Green, and owner-operator of Green Grass Fertilization and Pest Control in Michigan. Many of you are familiar with the unique Steel Green Army story, but let's hear from one of the Steel Green rock stars. Matt, what's the Steel Green team been up to the last 6 months, and specifically the last 2?
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Steel Green Marketing, for making this as easy as possible on us. They did a great job of keeping our group out in public view and making our job as easy as possible. We do appreciate it. Last 6 months, we've been, in a really strange time in our lives, right? We just a couple-year-old company looking to come out of GIE last year with another record-breaking year, and something called COVID decided to come at us and test, how we do business. And it was a learning opportunity, no doubt, that we as a group, all the employees had to learn pretty quick, how to make changes. So looking at our overall, numbers for the year and what we budgeted, we were a little terrified, what that was going to look like. But luckily, we were taken out, back to where we thought they were. We weren't able to go out and visit and see our Steel Green Army, which has been so great, and we're so thankful. Being able to travel in our normal routine has been difficult. So we have to do things like this. But quite frankly, I'm not, not my forte. But it's important that we get in front of our group, our customers, our family, and keep telling our story and how we are going to continue to grow, look at new products, not look back and keep rolling. So the neat part about that process, we all grew as a group and learned how to do different things and manage differently. Scott Jones, see him in his Steel Green headquarters there. I don't see a fire, Scott. I'm not seeing a fire back there. So
well, it's a little bit warm in my house, so I decided to go to the front porch and open the window.
There you go. Craig, I'm not sure exactly where Craig went to, but we've got, Craig Conyer, Scott Jones with us joining this call. Mike Floyd and Brent Mills are off doing, business. So, all 5 of us founders and all the employees, took this opportunity to look at, how can we evolve and look at new opportunities that really just don't lock us into being a sprayer company. And, hopefully, Eric Smith up there, we worked out a program where this is going to help us, current needs and future needs. So we're just excited about working with Eric, and as he is our consultant officially, kind of brings more life into the group. Even though we've only been doing this for 2 years, having something new like that kind of re-energized us as well, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So, a great point on that, Matt. On September 21st, we announced we purchased the rights to manufacture and sell the Z-Plow, which has been rebranded as the SG Snowplow. Eric, walk us through the first 8 years of that Z-Plow concept. What motivated you to think outside the box and create this type of plow for the zero turn spreader sprayers?
Yeah. It was a need that we wanted to fill. It wasn't a what cool new thing could we make? That wasn't it at all. We weren't manufacturing anything. We do lawn care, fertilizing in the summer and snow work in the winter. And it was just tough to look at certain pieces of equipment that can work great all summer, and then you park it in the fall. And when you go to start it back up next spring, what used to work doesn't. It's just the way sitting is on stuff. And we were seeing that from both sides of the season. And there was no real, short of buying like a tiny tractor or something. The sidewalk stuff that was out there just didn't fit the bill for the use of commercial work. It's just so much harder, that number of hours you put on something, and they can't break. If you're a homeowner, sure, put a plow on your four-wheeler, and if it breaks, you tinker with it and get it going again. But if it's 2 a.m. and it's snowing and this hospital needs clear walks, that's not an option, right? So it was just, okay, what pieces of equipment do we have? What things do we need to get done? And this is what happened.
Thanks for sharing that, Eric. I mean, it's got to be a unique story that you have, because not only did you create the plow, but you've really been probably the most experienced user of this plow. Kind of walk us through that. Walk us through how does this compare to what you see on the market today with other plows that would fit that sidewalk commercial market?
Yeah. R&D or product development happened real fast at first because things broke. It's just what happens. It's a different environment for that machine to be in. And whenever you make something, it's like trial number 5 that actually works. And then you can fine tune on that so many times. But we're a small enough company, and, working with the metal, the fabrication stuff is one of my hobbies. So I would be out at 2, 3 in the morning running the thing. Something would be frustrating. Get home, get some sleep, and then the next day, tweak it, improve it, right? So that first year, the thing changed a lot throughout that year. At the end of the first year, just local guys had seen us running these things on different properties around town and started asking. And so we started building some for those guys. I would say at year 2, the basic concept of the thing was pretty well nailed down. It worked good. But then there's progression of how can we make the same thing, but it's not so difficult to build, which means it's not so costly to build, right? But then certain tweaks, hey, this could save a couple bucks. Yeah, but it might break, right? So back to the drawing board again. But that's the first 2 years. It's been 7 years now. Yeah, it's been a lot of years of revision since then, and I was really excited to talk with the Steel Green guys, because as good a job as I like to think we could do with the thing, I knew, like, we're not a manufacturing company. We couldn't provide the product that they can. We don't have the machines, the tooling that they do to make a part that every piece is within, I don't know, thousandths of an inch from the other, So everything bolts on, it just goes on great.
Yeah, scalable. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so Matt, Scott, Craig, I know we lost you, but what has changed from the previous 8 years of the concept plow to what Steel Green is now offering as the
Yeah, it sounds like we got a fireside dog barking back there. As far as the I guess changes if, over this last month or two of going through this process, Eric was, I think, right on when he said he went through and tweaked the necessary changes um, as he was in the field, which was something we couldn't do. Pretty much if we wanted to design a plow and go at it on an R&D standpoint, in Indiana, we have maybe what 2 to 3 up to 10 events over the course of a winter that we could go out and do testing. Eric's up there hitting it hard and made a I don't know how many hours you put on in in R&D. That's something we could never do. So essentially, what we thought was appealing was not only getting the wheel proven product. We don't have to have guys out there, you know, searching and looking for snow events to do testing. He already fixed all that, and that was the great thing about Eric and what he had done previously. And right now, he's even itching to go up to the UP to go, you push some snow for us and get some cool videos.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get that video of the Steel Green.
Yes,
Wow.
having no snow events is hard to test a product, right? So,
Yeah,
uh,
we could push sand, but it wouldn't be fun, right?
right. Yeah.
Thing.
Um, good deal. So, with that, what the next topic let's talk about is let's talk about what is included in this Steel Green snowplow kit. What will the customer wants to buy one today? What is included in that plow kit?
Well, I think one thing for steel green owners, you're going to be able to mount, install this blade system in what 20-25 minutes. It would probably take me 4 or 5 hours myself, but I'm not very smart. But headlights, the plow, the hydraulic components, um, tires, more aggressive tire for. And Eric, I know, spent a lot of time trying trial and error of getting the
Yeah.
right tire because of different types of snow, and that's what's mesmerizing for me is getting to know Eric. Yeah, I look at snow as it's a pain in the butt. I'm going to drive to work. I don't, I'm not out there shoveling and pushing snow. And when he was going through all the different types of snow and how it rolls off the blade and pushes a certain way, it was like really, felt really out of my element. So when he was speaking of the tires and being able to, map a certain footprint to get the most traction, that was important. Because I think originally I even asked you, Eric, was do we even need to include tires in the
Yeah.
kit? Is that important? You pretty much, slammed that back in my face and said that might be the most important part of the machine. So, headlights again, the blade, quick or the attached system, hydraulic system, and that's what's neat about this plow kit. The plow itself, even though we sell the kit for $4,000, it's not just the plow. It's giving you an opportunity to buy other attachments that I won't go into today, but those will be a significantly less because you will already have all the hydraulic components in the attachments.
Yeah. That and the hydraulic thing that's I don't know. I mean, we built them. for a lot of years, that's a lion's share of the cost. And you see a lot of other similar plow setups, and they don't have that, and that makes them cheaper. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things that have the you can't have the thing do what it needs to do and skimp on that.
Yeah.
To have the control, the up, the down, the like rock solid. You press the plow down, it lifts the tires of the machine. They just don't break. It's a cylinder. They go up and down. It's got float in the angle, and it's live hydraulics. It's not some electric actuator thing.
Right.
So there's a lot of parts that aren't there to fail, but they're not cheap. And so that's a big portion of it. The plow itself. It's a plow, right? It's everything else that makes it do what it does.
And the stainless steel components. I remember again at the very beginning, I thought, man, what the heck, Eric? Why is this $4,000? Why is, tell me about that, price point. And then I even had a dealer reach out to me saying, I don't know if that price is going to work. I said, well, it's all stainless steel. And literally completely stopped the conversation. He said, okay, I want 5. So, that was a big selling point, from our standpoint too.
Yeah, we've got them sitting in the barn, like some of the earlier prototypes. In fact, I think we have the plow from year 1. It's scratched up, but
Yeah.
it's still there because it's stainless, and it's had hundreds of tons of salt spread right over it,
Yeah.
behind it. It's been in that environment, but it's fine. Replace the cutting edge, and it's as good as a new one, really.
Yeah.
We've had a couple questions come in, guys. I'm gonna hit the chat real fast. How does it perform in nasty wet snow?
Yeah, heavy snow, the wet stuff. It's amazing how much that sucker pushes. Serious. It's just, I was skeptical when we first tried the thing out. Now the machine's pretty heavy, and it doesn't have a ton of horsepower like a four-wheeler these days. They've got 30, 40 horsepower, right? But I've got an old Farmall tractor. It's got 40 horsepower, and it can drag my pickup truck all over the place that has 300 horsepower, right? It's about how that power gets to the ground and how much mass is there shoving the snow. Well, it's a beefy machine. All the machines are beefy machines, but the steel green especially. It's not light. When you take that machine, if you load the liquid tanks, which we don't typically do, but if there's that 1 or 2 a year nasty storm coming, we'll load the tanks with chloride or RV antifreeze, something to put some weight in there. Well, you add 300 to 500 pounds to the machine. Then you put salt in the trays. Pretty soon you've got a machine that, gosh, it's right around 2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And so, of course it'll push a four-wheeler backwards right in its tracks because it weighs half again more.
Yeah.
The next question is since I'll be using the plow, I want to take full advantage of my steel green unit. Any issues running liquid de-icer through the dual pumps?
No, if you look at most of the units out in the field today are using that same style, diaphragm pump. So I guess what we always told, previously would say, budget in for another diaphragm pump, for at the end of the year, it's a couple $100, right? It's not like it's a $1,500 high volume setup. So just budget in for a new pump, but as far as running it and utilizing it is absolutely no concern.
Next question is, what's going to be done, if anything, for rust protection? Will you sell an undercoating package or prep these before they leave the factory for this reason?
Make it out of stainless.
I was going to say stainless steel with I don't know, Eric, as far as some of the hydraulic hose, connections, you probably see a
Yeah.
little, but more than fertilizer, what kind of lifespan are we getting out of a fertilizer's a nasty, nasty
Yeah.
deal. So
Fertilizer is nasty. The portion of the kit that stays on the machine. So when you get the kit, you've got the brackets that go on the machine, the hydraulics that you plumb in, some hoses. Um, it's one of those things. It's like it's complicated, but then when you see it, it's not.
yeah,
Um, for us, we leave that portion of the kit on the machine all year. No different than when you put a hitch on the back of a pickup truck. You're not always pulling a trailer, but the hitch is there, and it's really not in the way. Um, but the up and down cylinder that would raise and lower the plow, that stays on. Uh, no, they don't corrode. If you don't use stainless pins, they can seize right in place in the cylinder, but the cylinder still works. Um, but there's a hydraulic motor and hoses inside the hopper on
right.
these machines, and there has been for the last 20 years. So yeah, do they fail? Yeah, I
But
don't
not,
know, every 6,000 hours or something.
yeah, not very often.
Yeah, because it's got hydraulic fluid running through it, and I guess it gets in the pores of the metal. I don't know, but
We'll have to
yeah,
look and see, like, as far as like a spray or, you know, I definitely look into that and see, if there's some of the other things that we can potentially look at.
that
Sounds
was
good.
key though. I mean, to that point, what fails? You look at a lot of other spreaders on the market, salt spreaders specifically. Now, for a big truck, they're all hydraulic, or they've got a little Honda motor back there running it, which is prone to failure. But for sidewalk stuff, this is one of the few, the only, that use a hydraulic motor. And well, years ago, 20 years ago, when spreader sprayers were a new thing, they had an electric motor in that hopper, and you could barely get 1 year out of them. And that wasn't cheap. I mean, that sucker was hundreds of dollars. Put a hydraulic motor in, problem is gone. Um, yeah, it costs a little more upfront, but it costs a lot less than a new electric thing every stinking year. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, the corrosion stuff, I mean, it happens, but it's really minimal the way the thing is designed.
How long do the cutting edges typically last?
Yeah. Gosh, how long do tires last? Is Jeff Gordon driving the thing, or is Grandma driving the thing? What's that?
It depends on the user. It depends on the operator, right? A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
depends on the operator. Yeah.
A lot of hours. The first winter that I ran one of these things, I think we put 300 hours on that machine in that one winter. It was just a snowy winter. Um, I think we had to replace the cutting edge halfway through that winter, but that was the first year. Since then, we've found much better materials that do the job, provide the flexibility, and last. So, more than a season,
More
even
than
if you're using it a lot.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there too that had some issues with, certain material or edges that just wouldn't even pass through a weekend. So I forget how thick that is, Eric.
1 inch thick, 6 inches tall. Um, oh gosh, if I had to put a number of hours on it, I would say with the better materials that we've got now, you can probably, if you were to rate it in miles, it would be over 100 for sure, hundreds of miles.
Wow.
And if you were to rate it in hours, I would say 200 hours of plowing. It's going to last a long stinking time. Way longer than steel edges. Way longer than steel edges.
And Matt, you and Eric were working on that no downtime parts kit. I There will be something that will be available, right, for
Yeah,
customers
yeah,
who do want those wearable items to in their shop. If something does happen,
right.
they can
Yeah, the
place
last thing you want to do is be sitting there with something simple like a coupler or a fitting, um, you know, anything with snow removal. There are some unknowns, so we want to have a kit available for guys to keep running.
Sounds good. All right, last question for the day, guys, and we appreciate everyone who's tuned in today. Um, if I place an order today, when could I receive the plow?
So I would say, we had a little bit of snow apparently coming through Iowa, Minneapolis, and I was getting emails and text messages, all day, all night long. And before I was saying a week or two, right now I'll say, um, 2 to 3 weeks is what I would say right now. But the first snow is going to be interesting. This is what's neat about our getting in this type of business now. Before with snow removal, if it snowed, whatever. Now I'm looking at the weather consistently and just kind of monitoring how or where those calls are coming in from. So I'd say 2 to 3 weeks if you order one today, and that's a pretty safe number right now.
Sounds good. Well, Matt, before I hand it over to you for final thoughts, I do want to announce the swag winner today, Jeff Ferris at Best
Yeah.
Lawn. Congratulations. We're going to send you some swag. Appreciate those who registered for that entry. You will have another opportunity coming up first week of November. Be sure to follow us on social media and tune in to our next Fireside Chat where we will be discussing customized machines with a very special guest, Jim Beveridge. Matt, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to you for final goodbyes.
I'd say
Thank you for being a part of us.
thank you, Casey. Thank you, Eric. Again, from where we started having conversations, Eric, I think that's a really exciting piece of the pie, right? Um, how do we do this? What does it look like to have you know, give up your brainchild? That was that had to be tough, and the key to that was trust. Making sure you and I were comfortable, and all of our Steel Green team, and were comfortable with each other, and you were. I mean, you're a salesman at heart because you sold us on the fact of what that unit can do, what that plow can do, and from the get go, we've been floored how impressed we are with your knowledge. Um, but again, those conversations we were having, it seemed like 24 hours a day there for a while, um, was fairly easy because we just were honest and set a goal for us to be able to partner together, and you made it extremely easy. And um, I'm just proud to be able to have that plow in our portfolio, and it's rejuvenated our business because it's something new and exciting. So thank you for allowing us to do that, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you guys do stuff with it that we couldn't, um, like square carriage bolts, so that when you go to put the thing on, it saves a wrench and a little time. It just simplified the thing. So when somebody gets a plow, it's not like getting a plow for your pickup, where okay, here's this, like from Christmas Vacation, where they pull out the Christmas lights.
Right.
Here, you got these relays, the blinkers, the headlights. It's some brackets, you bolt them on.
Yep.
And so you guys have been able to simplify that. I think literally you could get your plow at 3 o'clock this afternoon and be plowing at 4 o'clock
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
without
Right.
hiccups.